Hey, May 18th, 2017. This is the MMA Junkie Radio pre-show. That was George running into the mic.
2 minutes.
Anna Julaton is in studio here with us. She's going to be co-hosting the whole 2 hours. George is throwing on his mic. And we will also have Paul Daly, Tanner. How do you say his last name, George?
Saraceno
and John Makdessi.
Yeah, there's a hurricane in the forecast.
There is.
For the next 2 hours, brace yourself. Former world boxing champion Anna Julaton co-hosting. I gave her a 30-minute slot, and she goes, "Oh, and do the whole show." I go, "Oh, my bad. All right, cool." I wasn't sure. What's that?
That wasn't me on the phone.
Oh, that wasn't you? Well, I mean, this was through her manager, and I go, "Oh, cool." So Anna's involved in MMA. Her latest competition was boxing, but I just wasn't sure, if she likes to talk MMA for 2 hours straight, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so I said, we do have some interviews lined up, but if she's down, then let's do this. So she will be hanging out with us here, and we'll be talking about anything and everything that's on her horizon. Possible UFC, possible Bellator. Who knows what's happening? Maybe some more boxing. We'll figure all that out here. Follow her on Twitter at Anna Julaton, Julaton. Anna's easy, A, 1N, A-N-A. A-N-A, A. How you doing, Goz?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm tripping out.
Oh, man, you know what's starting to really grind my gears? Is people that just can't hold a door. Somebody fart? What's this for?
I don't know.
Okay, just in case. I don't understand something here.
Sprayed that more on your side, Anna.
No, I went straight down the middle. People that just can't hold a door for anyone else. Where's the courtesy? People were raised in barns or something, man, in the last 30 years. I don't get it.
I don't like it either, but the one I don't like the most is when someone turns around and says, that guy's too far, fuck him, and they just go. I think once you make eye contact, you gotta do it.
Possibly. I mean, there's got to be a certain amount of steps where you go, you're just too far, dog.
Stand by.
But, I was literally behind a person, and he opened it enough for him and just slid through.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McGary Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Go. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMAjunkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMAjunkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMAjunkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goz.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMAjunkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goz. Our ace co-host, back east, handling all the producing duties today. It's going to be Danny, of course. Sitting to my right, former boxing world champion, current MMA superstar, Anna Julaton. What's up? How you doing, Anna?
Oh, I'm great. Thanks for having me on and for actually saying my last name right consistently. I appreciate that so much.
What do other people say? Julaton?
That's one of them. I mean, there's just...
Julaton?
Yeah.
You ever get Julaton?
Yeah.
So yeah. I get my name screwed up all the time. And it happened again the other day at Macy's. They put Brain. That wasn't even close.
Brain? At Macy's?
Yeah.
Confusing Macy's with Starbucks? Why do you need to give you your name?
I had to pick up alterations, and so they had the
name
put Brain on my ticket. It said Brain.
Yeah, well, I mean, going back to what I was saying before on the 2-minute pre-show, I think people were just raised in barns nowadays. Common courtesy, like nobody can spell. What the hell's going on?
Well, I can't spell. I'm one of those guys. And it's because of spell check.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because of spell check and like Google, it's just so much easier to type it in that when I actually have to handwrite stuff.
Yeah,
I
but
go,
when the
"Oh,
internet
man."
blossomed, you had hit your 20s, hadn't
Well, yeah,
you?
but new words come out and stuff like that.
I could see a millennial having that excuse, but
I mean, I can spell, George. It's just people aren't reading my stuff and going, "What's he saying?" I'm not a great speller.
gotcha. Are you a great speller?
So-so.
Let me pick a word here.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No one can spell. I don't think I can spell that one. I'm a really, really good speller.
Fedor Emelianenko.
Fedoremelian. I lost track. Can I just write it and then read it back to you? All right. Well, I got the Fedor right? Is that all you wanted, or you want the last one too?
I wanted the last
all
one
right. Emel Ianko.
I don't know.
You don't even know. He didn't even know. I got set up there.
I told you.
All right. Danny, you a good speller?
Not at all.
No. What are you good at, by the way? We haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, Danny, what are you good at?
I play guitar and sing. Like
Oh, that's true. that is true.
Did that.
That is true. He's a good singer. Danny, our producer, is a singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his singing voice sounds nothing.
You want to hear a song from his band?
Oh, I'd love to hear.
Danny, play Automatic 253, please.
I need to load it up.
All right.
Alright.
Yeah.
But
This
yeah,
is.
it's just like
He's a
you know when
punk
you hear
punk band singer.
You hear like Michael Jackson talk, and you're like, oh, okay, that's his voice. This dude's voice sounds nothing like his singing voice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like Danny, describe what you had for dinner last night.
I actually made stir fry from chicken parm, chicken, and a bunch of vegetables.
Okay, so that's what he sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Danny, play Automatic 253.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Didn't he ask for a second like about a minute ago?
He did. He's also not good with time.
Okay.
Could he have been trolling us this whole time? He's not even in a band or nothing.
What do you think?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You like it?
It's very catchy.
Automatic 253, folks. There you have it. Our producer is a singer for a punk band, and we think he's pretty fabulous. So, Danny, how do they get your music again? We haven't done a plug in a while.
iTunes, Spotify, Apple Play, or Apple Music, Google Play, anywhere really.
Yeah. But he doesn't sound like he sings, right?
Oh.
No, I wouldn't have guessed, but it's pretty awesome.
It's
Yeah.
like
Do you have,
Charles
like-
Barkley's speaking voice and like Justin Timberlake singing voice. Like, they're just night and day.
They don't match. Yeah. All right. So, Anna, how you been? Catch us up a little bit. You had a fight in Mexico recently. A
Yeah.
win for you?
Yeah.
You got the decision?
Everything's going great. You know, I'm very fortunate to have my boxing promoter, Alan Tremblay. He's keeping me active. He's in the works right now with scheduling me another fight next month. So I've been
Boxing.
Yes, for boxing. I really feel like just transitioning from boxing to MMA and coming back into boxing. There's a lot of timing points that I want to review, and just being able to have these opportunities and this activity, I think it helps out a great deal. And I just feel like I keep evolving as a fighter. So it's nice to just kind of relax a little bit. I went back home in the Bay Area, saw some family, and got to chill out, have some food, have some great food. And, I'm back here now. I'm training diligently. And, there's a lot of opportunities out there on the horizon. So from my experience from MMA, I've, and just coming from the boxing world, at that time, I was just strictly focusing on boxing, and so the ins and outs, just understanding the angles and the whole pace of everything, just the whole the whole just being immersed in that world. It's a completely different attitude. And when I jumped into MMA, it's a completely different world as well. So even though I have a background in martial arts, like I can kick, I've done Olympic style kicking, and I've gotten trained with a lot of great just champions at that time. And even though it's in the back of my head, I haven't practiced it. And so in the sport of MMA, you need to, just because you know it doesn't mean that you can just apply it right away. You need to put in the time. And so when I stepped away from just getting into the MMA world, where I just completely just jumped myself into it and just kind of lived a little bit of that community, and I had to step back a little bit, both from boxing and MMA, and just kind of clear my thoughts, clear my head, and and even though I've been having this boxing match scheduled, I've been doing a lot of cross training, and it's taking me back to my roots, and it feels great because I feel like a child again. And sometimes I feel like as we get older, it's very easy to stray away from that. You find out there's certain limitations and there's certain things that you want to restrict yourself to. Oh, you should do it this way, and it's kind of conformed, and just being able to step away from both sports and kind of see where I'm at mentally, physically, and emotionally. It just opened up my eyes, and I just went back to my roots, and I've been cross training with the martial arts, going back to my Olympic style kicking. I've been going to the gym diligently with Angelo, and he's been helping
Who's
me
Angelo?
out. Oh, he's right there. He's right there. He's
That's
ghost.
right. Yeah.
And I'll dedicate that portion, a portion of that during the day, and then I'll get back to just my roots of just the grind of the boxing, and that's something that I really missed when I went to MMA. It's just this, and for me, I'm just seeing it from a different perspective, because just being in the MMA world, just going to the different gyms and working with different coaches, and just seeing the philosophy and how people just attack the way that they train, it's very different from boxing. So I think it was important for me to step back and get back in and just kind of be like, you know what, for me, this makes sense. So that's what I've been doing, especially with being able to have the activity, is being able to flash from being a boxer to being a martial artist to being a kicker to being, this and this and this and this and this, you know what I mean? And so I feel like, I'm in a perfect scenario. I mean, my family's good, my health is good. I'm around very positive people who are passionate about what they do, and I'm able to live my life as a woman in a male-dominated sport and just live it freely, and so that's what's been going on. And so thanks for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. Actually, it's been a while, I feel, since I've gotten to see you guys.
Yeah.
So
did you notice Anna has some moves?
Yeah.
That little snappy thing. Hey, Anna, now a lot of people are saying that boxing has had a little bit of a resurgence. Boxing purists have been saying, no, we haven't. We've always been around. People are starting to pay a little bit more attention. You've done MMA and boxing. How do you feel? Do you feel like boxing's taken it up a notch, or have people just been missing the boat?
I think boxing, it's a global sport, so it's always been, in action. So everyone in the community, in the boxing community who's been following it, they never felt like it had ever left. But since I was able to step away from the sport and kind of venture off into MMA and kind of see it from a different outlook, I feel like the business aspect of boxing has changed a lot, which I think created a resurgence and it is making it a lot more popular. More in particular, I think with PBC. Like it's interesting with them. I hear a lot more of their fighters more on the different networks versus if I were to follow up on a top ranked fighter or an HBO fighter or a Golden Boy fighter, and and all of those promotional teams, they're phenomenal in their own respect. But I'm just saying, for right now, just being able to step away from it and just kind of see what's out there on the media for a regular casual fan to watch. I would say I'm more familiar with like a Keith Thurman, a Sean Porter, a Danny Garcia, a Triple G, a Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? And I think it's neat because this is a new generation of boxers, and a lot of them I've gotten to see in the past. I've gotten to see quite a few of them back in the amateurs, and I'm talking about a decade ago and things. And they've been consistent. And for me, if I were to put on my martial arts goggles on, I'm thinking, man, these are like live samurai warriors, where they're out there for a purpose. They wake up every day, they're training, they're keeping in tune with their body, and they're searching out the land as if they were a war general, meaning whatever's in their division, what's happening in boxing at that moment right now. And you can tell that they're picking their timing points to do a blast on social media. Hey, I'm gonna call this person out, and they're setting their things up, and I think a lot more people are paying attention to it, mainly because of what promotional companies like PBC is doing with putting out more exposure for these fighters, which I feel like is well deserved, you know.
Anna, one of the biggest stories that's out right now that involves boxing and MMA is Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
At one point in your career, you were in a similar situation, coming from a boxing background, except you were going over to MMA. Now, I know you've been doing martial arts your entire life, so you probably didn't have the boxing versus MMA feel because you're a martial artist as well. But the fans and possibly promoters, fighters, they may have seen that angle. Did you ever feel those type of pressures of boxing versus MMA in that first fight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a total culture clash. You know, if I were to sit in a room and watch an MMA match with my fellow boxing colleagues, you know, I'd get a different dialogue. Versus if I were to watch an MMA fight and with other MMA fighters and people in the industry, it's a different dialogue altogether. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's always a riff. And I think what the common denominator between both sides is having that element, or just having that killer instinct, that fighting instinct, and having both sides always trying to test themselves to see who is the better person, better fighter, if given an opportunity to, you know, clash their weapons together. You know what I mean? And so in terms of the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, I think it's great for both sports. I mean, there's a lot of cons and there's a lot of pros behind it, but in terms of if I were to put on my fighting goggles on, remember, this is prize fighting. You want to go out there and do your best. You want to train hard so you don't hurt yourself and you can be successful in all that respect, but you're also a business person. So you got to have the balance of the two, and I think Conor McGregor is doing the right thing with calling out one of the most recognizable names in the fight game in Floyd Mayweather. And, you know, it's all about making money. I mean, how much longer does Conor McGregor want to continue on fighting? I mean, and I think it's such, and it's funny, I was talking with Angelo about it in the car.
Who's Angelo? Okay. Oh, yeah, you got to refresh me there.
You know, Floyd Mayweather at 41 years old. 41 years old. I mean, you would think that he's old in the fight game, but when you look at him, like when I see him from an athletic standpoint, this guy is extremely smart in the sense where he knows his body. He's always, and he keeps it all on the down low. Like he'll flash out himself running along with Gervonta Davis, who's one of the up-and-comers in boxing right now, one of the fresh talents. And I mean, a 41-year-old guy running miles with a young 21-year-old, 22-year-old. I mean, and this guy has stashes and stacks of just millions and millions of dollars. I mean, he doesn't need to do any of that. He can just, you know, live the rest of his life and just party every day. But he's out there to conquer, you know. Yeah. And I think for me, like, people will say, you know, Conor's going into boxing and, you know, it's a bad matchup. And I agree, but then there's also certain elements that I think if Conor McGregor were to capitalize on, and it's up to Floyd to make sure that he doesn't fall into certain traps. And, I mean, obviously he's smart. He can lay out the whole 36-minute fight I'm sure he's not even thinking about it now. He's been thinking about this. It's been stemming in his head, you know, for a while. I don't know. I think it's compelling to a point where if because fighting it's not just one dimensional. It's such a loaded event where there's so many things happening, where it comes down to what you're doing with yourself and your environment and how the world is piecing or how the world is looking at the fight game right now, and just knowing when to attack, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And Floyd. And man, I'm just in awe with just how he's able to just keep a steady flow and just put himself in a position where he can get paid the highest dollars, you know. And I think Conor McGregor is right in his side, where he's like, yeah, I'm calling you out so I can get paid, and let's do this. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped up about that fight, actually.
You ready to hate me though?
Speaking of.
Oh, go ahead. Oh. Let's go.
All right, here we go. If that fight were to happen the same night as Triple G and Canelo, that you could only see one, what would you watch?
Oh, are you kidding me? I would see Floyd Mayweather versus Conor
Really?
McGregor. Yeah, I would. I
I'm
would.
so mad right now. Angelo, you too?
Why would you want to see exhibition
Because
between
it's never been
an
done.
awesome boxer
But you get to
versus
see
someone
number
that's
one and
never
number
boxed
two.
professionally?
But I could see that on a replay.
Let's say you had to wait
no.
1 week before you could see either fight. Now pick one.
I'm still going with the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight. I don't know. To me, that whole thing is just compelling. Even though I pretty much know what's going to happen. I already know what the outcome is. But
You've
just
seen
to
the
see-
waitresses that work here, right? Lovely ladies. Could one of them beat you in a boxing match?
Nah. I mean,
That's
you
basically
kidding?
what the other one boils
That's
down to.
exactly what it is.
I completely understand, but if I were to put on my fan goggles now, I'm becoming a spectator of the sport. I think that is just so compelling. I mean, you have these two guys at the height of their career. They have so much to lose, and for them to actually go out there and show the world, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this. For me, that just says, I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of balls. I have a lot of estrogen. If I want to be politically correct, but
A lot of people would get in there for $100 million with Floyd.
Dude, I'd do it for less than that. Way less than that.
Yeah. And what about as a boxing purist? Who wins? Does Conor have a shot? Does he have 1%? Or zero? Is it zero?
I'd say his only shot is if he cheats. He goes in there and he does something that Floyd's completely not expecting to see, like a spin kick or something like that. Because I like to see Conor.
In which case he wouldn't win anyway. He'd be disqualified. So
he'd be disqualified. But
I was wondering if
there's
there's some roughing up. Like, did you mean like some roughing up where he can get some warnings, but at least
Like Victor Ortiz, just, really get in there.
an elbow off a break,
if he
some sort of
can.
a intentional headbutt that looks unintentional.
I don't know if he can. To me, I'd like to see how he
Maybe hit
prepares.
him just as the bell is sounding. Where it's
Yeah.
late, so the other guy had dropped his guard, but yet he takes the damage, and all he gets is a warning. He's probably already 10-9, even if they deduct 10-8. What's the difference? But damage has been accumulated.
I mean, anything can happen.
But you still want to see it.
I do.
I have some good news for you.
Okay.
We're halfway there. Dana White has said that the McGregor UFC side is done. So those two had to agree, and then now they're coming towards Mayweather Productions, and now they got to broker a deal. But that side is done. So what the UFC is going to make and Conor McGregor is going to make, that's been decided, and now they have to approach Floyd and say, are you in? And this is what we think. I don't think that's going to be easy. But then again, if there's a lot of dollar signs, maybe it's
I don't believe it.
a slam dunk.
I don't believe it, and I don't understand it. Nothing's done until the two people decide, because how do you know Floyd Mayweather is going to come back with something that's going to change your mindset of what is going on the other side? If I told you, all right, Connor, I'm going to give you 20 mil, and Floyd Mayweather comes back with something crazy, then to make it happen, I may have to go, now I'm going to give you 10 because this guy's out of his mind. And
Right.
the guy that holds all the chips is Floyd Mayweather.
Right.
Until that side's done, I don't even want to hear anything about Conor McGregor's side.
100%. Yeah, I
This
totally
one?
agree. Welcome to boxing.
Speaking of, you said, combat sports dominated by males. You were giving us a female point of view. MMA is growing, though. The female profile is growing there a lot faster than in boxing. So with the UFC announcing the Ultimate Fighter Season 26 is going to feature flyweights, a division that you could definitely make. Are you interested in that?
Whatever opportunity is there, absolutely. I feel like, I've given a lot of myself through just the combat arts, combat sports, and I feel like that's the direction I would like to get into. And so right now I've been working with Empire Sports Marketing, and they've been doing a great deal with, just possibly seeing a possible opportunity for me. So I've been making sure I've been doing my part and just staying consistent in the gym, and constantly surrounding myself with people who will just inspire me, and just always have me just focusing on it, and just loving it again,
6 weeks in the house with 16 others.
it,
Would that bother you much, or have you ever done anything close to like that?
yeah, I've never done anything
Okay.
like that. Yeah, it's I'm not a people person. I'm usually like in the gym, and so it's funny because sometimes when I talk to a normal person, and when I say normal, I mean people who are just not in the fight game at all. And if I were to strike up some dialogue with them, all I could talk about is just the fight game. And and it's funny because I feel like I just pretty much dominate the conversation in that, because I just try to explain whatever that they ask me, and
you'll be going to the tryout, right?
I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm just keeping my
But you
options
have to
open.
get in the house.
Right.
I think, right? Or unless they're just sending out invites.
No, because they've had seasons where they've just invite.
Oh, I see. Do you know anything about how it may be going down? But no, there is a tryout. I got the press release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
there is a tryout.
You meet the criteria, 3 professional fights. You've had those. And, I imagine you standing in front of producers and going, hey, check these out. Bring some of them boxing belts in. Right away, there's some status there. You know what I mean?
That'd be a gangster.
Where do you train? I train in Las Vegas. I fought for 1 championship. And I have Angela Reyes as my boxing coach. I'm not sure about the Lundell relationship yet, but if that's still there, I have Lundell as my grappling coach. So I have world-class coaches available to me, and I'm no joke. I'm Anna Julaton for crying out loud.
I've been working a lot with Frank Mir and his family. And
yeah.
They're pretty much they're phenomenal in terms of the grappling aspect of it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would even tell the producers, so let me in before I box one of you up.
Yeah.
And look at the female and go, I'm looking at you, girl. Right?
That's
No,
right.
will you be at the tryout? I mean, it's coming up. You have to tell us, I imagine, right? Or
I mean, I'm
it's not like we won't find out.
Nothing's like sketched in stone right now. So I'm just obviously keeping my options open, and I'm just being very steady at the gym.
Bellator's got flyweights going on too.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, and I think it's great to be a woman who's in the fight game at 125 pounds. So, yeah.
And in the meantime, you have a boxing possibility coming up.
Yes. I mean, it's nice. I mean, that's just how the combat sports is. Nothing's ever official. Like I remember Freddie Roach back, at Wildcard, he would say, don't assume that your fight is going to happen, even though you signed a contract and everything, until you're actually in the ring staring at your opponent.
Wow. So even in the back in the warm-up, still nothing?
Yeah. I mean, I remember
I guess it's happened, right, in the past.
Oh, totally. Like, for my pro debut as a boxer, I was supposed to be on an undercard of Pacquiao versus, what's his name?
Marquez.
Yeah. No. Barrera too. And, I made it on the scales and everything, and then my opponent just ended up becoming overweight, and, it just didn't happen. There was a lot of things that was going on, but, I got to make it on the Mandalay Bay scales and be like, ugh. And the fight just didn't even happen. I was training consistently for that, I had to wait for another month.
What a disappointing night that must have been.
Oh, it sucked. Yeah, and just it's so jumpy, because I remember a week before, because I was scheduled to fight on the end card, and a week before I was told, you're off the card. Mm-hmm. And Angelo and Freddie, they're just on me. They're really, really strict. So I just kept training. So I would go over to the IBA gym when they used to have it out here, and Pacquiao's getting ready for his fight, and I'd train alongside with the rest of the team, and I'm just staying consistently. And then all of a sudden, Manny said, "Oh, you're not on the card." He goes and he calls up Michael Collins, and he says, "Hey, put the girl on." And I'm like, "Okay, great. Let's do it." And so a lot of things ended up happening in a 7-day period, and then right on the scale, off the scale. Oh shucks, the fight.
Nice to have Manny Pacquiao on your side, though. All right, folks, I'll tell you what, we got to jump in here. The music's playing. We're going to take a commercial. When we come back, there's a switcheroo goes. I might as well let you know now, so you have at least 5 minutes to prepare. Same goes for Danny, the producer. Liam McGary will be stepping in for Paul Daly. Paul Daly will be unable to do the show today. So we'll be talking to the former light heavyweight champion over at Bellator, who's fighting on the same card, Bellator 179, on Friday, his opponent, Linton Vassell. Stay close, folks. We'll be right back.
MMA Junkie Radio. This is MMA Junkie Radio. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
Right now, SiriusXM Volume Channel 106 is reflecting on the life of Soundgarden and Audio Slave frontman Chris Cornell, who passed away last night. Hear from people who attended the Soundgarden show last night in Detroit, as well as artists and journalists who knew the man and his music. Remembering Chris Cornell all day today on SiriusXM Volume Channel 106. All right. We are doing a switcheroo here in just a few minutes with a couple of Bellator athletes. They did weigh in earlier. All's well in London, England. However, it looks like we'll be talking to former light heavyweight champion Liam McGeary, as he will be fighting Linton Vassell at Bellator 179. Anna Julaton's joining us here in studio. She's a former boxing champion. We're talking about all of her possibilities in combat sports. She can box again maybe this summer, or get into that Tough House. Tough 26 features flyweights, where the inaugural champion will be crowned. Of course, Bellator's got a flyweights division as well. So it's nice to have these options in front of you.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Yeah, and by the end, you're going to hate me because I'm going to see if I can, maybe you can line up your 1, 2, 3 as far as your options. I'm curious. I want to know. People are asking me, what's she going to do? I'm like, I don't know. Well, you got 2 hours to find out. So I'm going to try.
Stand right now, right?
Yeah, you're on the window. You sweating yet?
I got my sweating done earlier today.
Now, out of my peripheral vision, the poorest poker player in the game, Angelo Reyes, noted boxing and MMA boxing coach, is bobbing his head and making certain gestures to certain organizations I'm bringing up. So I kind of know where I'm getting warm and where I'm not warm, but we'll figure it out. And ultimately has to make the decision. But again, it's nice to have those options. All right, Danny, where do we stand with our next guest?
Liam is there and ready.
All right, folks. Joining us now on the hotline is former Bellator light heavyweight champ Liam McGeary, who's featured in the co-main event slot at Bellator 179, which takes place tomorrow in London, England, at the SSE Arena. He will be facing Linton Vassell. Liam, how you doing, sir?
Hello?
Hello, Liam. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. You're on with George and Goes, and we also have former boxing champion Anna Julaton here in studio with us. Thank you for your time. The weigh-ins took place a few hours ago, so I imagine by now you're rehydrating and packing the pasta?
Yeah, pretty much so. Actually, Wagamama's, which is just down the road, so I've just been eating that.
Oh, okay. What was that? What
you say about her mama?
Did you say something about
Wagamama's. You ever heard of it? Japanese cuisine.
Oh,
Noodles
Japanese
and
cuisine.
things like that, man. It's tasty.
Yeah, is that a UK thing, or is that available here in the States?
Yeah, this is the UK thing.
Oh.
I have to stop there, George.
Wagamama's, it's called. All right, in London, England.
Wagamama's, not Wagamama.
Oh, Wagamama. So what'd you have?
Wagga with a D.
All right, what'd you have?
I had chicken katsu curry, and then I had some steak boogaloo or something like that. I don't know, I can't pronounce it. Some Korean dish. Pretty tasty.
All right. Liam, let me ask you something. Years ago, I used to go with a fighter who fought in the UFC to his post-weigh-in meals, and he would always have 2 Amstel Lights. It was his tradition, 2 beers. How about you? Like, has the game changed? Aside from these pastas and Wag My Mama, whatever it is that you did, like, is there anything that you has been a tradition, and have you ever consumed any form of alcohol after your post-weigh-in?
No, I won't, because usually I started drinking for about 8 or 9 weeks prior to the fight camp. So if I was to have 1 beer, I wouldn't probably stop at 1. You know, I'd want to get a taste for it, and then so I don't want to tease myself too much. So I just stick away and just save it for my little treat after the fight. So that's usually why my fights end so quick. Right. I can't wait to get a beer inside me. So.
What's your beer of choice, mate?
I pretty much like anything. I like Guinness. I do like a good pint of Guinness. Vodka. I like rum. So I pretty much drink whatever's been floated around. Jaeger bombs as well. But I don't tend to forget what's actually happened that night when I drink the Jaeger bombs. So.
Damn.
You gotta get him to Vegas.
This guy sounds like fun to hang out with. When are you going to be in Las Vegas again?
Actually, beginning of June, I think.
Oh, yeah? What brings you to town?
I've just pop in, see a few friends, head over to the West Coast. I like to wander around a little bit after the fight, so over to the West Coast, a little bit of sun, hang out.
Very cool. All right, so please specify, I guess, your relationship with Linton Vassell. We hear that you guys are friends. Like, are you guys really like homies or just gym mates or just passed that cross at some point in your careers? Like, how would you define it?
Well, I mean, so he's been around in the game for a while. I'd never met him before until San Diego, I believe it was, when we first met, when we all met. So I was like meeting English boys who I've watched fight for a long time. So I'm at first meeting him. You can't help but get on with him. You know, he's a nice dude.
Right.
You know, and that just formed a friendship. We'll throw the odd text message here and there. If ever I see him, I'll always have a chat, ask him how training's going on. It's the usual stuff, you know. But I mean, it was always inevitable that we was going to fight. 5 years ago, I knew that we was going to fight. So now that this day's come, it couldn't have happened in a better place. We've got London, you know. So it's yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's business. So once the cage door closes, it's a fight, man. I'm not gonna let the friendship come in the way of anything. You know, he likes to be comfortable with his opponents. You know, so I mean, the fighting's about being uncomfortable.
Right.
So I'm just gonna make this as uncomfortable as possible and as bad for him. You know, I'm not gonna take any mercy on him because I know him. Like, it's still gonna be business for me, and I'm still gonna go for blood.
Liam, of the two of you, who's the more popular UK fighter? I would think maybe you because of the title you've held, but can you tell like which one of you like the London crowd will pop for?
I'm not too sure. He's a London boy, you know, so he's got a lot more. He may have a lot more fans in England. He's been around for a while. I mean, I've got my boys coming over. My boys are all here, so and friends and family. So that's pretty much who I like to. Who I put the show on for, and my fans in England, man, it's going to be awesome to put a show on them for the first time as well. So I'll soon find out on the night how many cheers I get. You know?
Yeah, London's been on fire. We got the end of the football season's coming to an end here. So for one, a London team won the
football season as well.
Yeah, the London team won. Chelsea, they won the league. The FA Cup's coming to. They're going to play pretty soon as well, and. You know, a few weeks ago we had boxing, Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. So, oh hell yeah, I watched it, man. That was a great fight. That city's on fire in terms of sporting events.
Insane, man. I'm actually looking at the stadium where they fought, you know, and to imagine 90,000 people in this stadium, all pouring out of here at the side. It must have been incredible. People everywhere.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest boxing events I've ever seen, and those guys delivered. But, you know, it must feel pretty good to be in a fight town like London and to be doing your thing, you know, in front of your fans.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely, man. That's why I'm so excited about fighting it.
Yeah. Hopefully at some point Bellator's taking notes, and if they go down the route of a stadium show, Wembley's got to be at the top.
For sure, man. There's plenty of cool stadiums around here. They took us to West Ham to do some press conference thing. That was pretty cool. That was like the Olympic.
The new Olympic Stadium?
Yeah.
Very
West
cool.
Ham are now playing over there.
Very cool.
So, that was cool to see.
Liam McGery, our guest here on MMAjunkie Radio. He fights Linton Vassell on Friday, tomorrow, at Bellator 179. Goes, what do you have for Liam?
Liam, you looked great in your last fight, and we've heard from some fighters that sometimes they say, look, losing's unfortunate, but sometimes it could turn around a fighter's career. It's the best thing that could have happened to them. Did the Phil Davis fight, did that light a new fire underneath you?
Not really. I mean, the fire's always there. You know, I made a mistake. I overtrained. I did a lot of things wrong in the training camp and the build-up to that fight. I had a lot of people in my ears, and I was listening to everybody, and I was trying to do everything and trying to fit it all in one day, and it's just like, there's not enough hours in the day to fit all this training in. And when I got to the fight, it was mentally drained, and I was physically drained as well. So things were just going wrong, and everything was going wrong. And as I kept chasing, I kept making more mistakes, and I knew what was going on. And the only thing that was going through my mind was, I just need to put my hand on him. I just need to hit him in the face. And when you're thinking that, that's when you start making mistakes, you know. And he's catching me with leg kicks, and I'm walking through the kicks and taking me down, and I'm trying to get out, and it's just I forgot my jiu-jitsu game. a lot of things just went out the window, and the frustrations kick in. And when you realise what's going on, there is nothing you can do about it, because the more you try and pull yourself out, the harder you're going, and then the more mistakes you're making,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
with the last fight, I stepped back. I just did me, man, and when I fight, I fight better when I just do what I do. I don't listen to anybody. I listen to my coach, and then he just points me in the right direction, and then just says go, and then that's what I do.
I know you have Linton Vassell right in front of you, but is it difficult? I know you want your title back. Is it hard to not look past him and look at the future of what could be right around the corner for you?
Yes and no, but as a fighter, you've got to be able to block that out. You just wait until the next fight, the next time. I know it's very difficult to wait, but you just have to concentrate on what you've got in front of you. I think that's the most important part. Even when I was in the tournament, I never looked like I've got this guy, then this is he beats this guy, I've got this dude who I could be facing in the final. I never batted an eyelid. To me, it's just a punch up, just another guy, someone in front of me, and I'm going for a fight. And that's, I find that that helps me, and I work better that way.
Liam, who do you think will be the champion by the time you have to fight for a title again? I mean, really, in about a month, Bader and Davis will be going at it. Who do you favor in that fight?
I'm gonna stick with Phil. Phil got beaten the last time they fought each other. So I think he wants to get some retribution and get his own back. So Bader's come over to Bellator. Unfortunately, Mo had to pull out because of injury. And now Bader's actually got a title shot in his first fight. Which he wanted. He felt that he deserved it when I don't think he did. But at the end of the day, now Phil has to do what this is Phil's belt, and he has to defend it. And he can't go losing to a dude who's just come over from the UFC.
And lastly, so King Mo's injury is not a serious injury, and he's saying that he feels like he should step in there and fight the winner. Do you feel like you could sidestep Mo if you have a great performance against Linton Vassell? Have you had any of those types of conversations with Bellator about where you may fit?
Like I say, man, I'll just take care of what's the job in hand, man. I haven't worried about any conversations for title shots or who I'm going to fight next or what's going to happen. I got Linton Vassell. I knew I was going to have Linton Vassell after I beat that dude, and then and that's all I think about.
Right on, mate. All right. Well, thank you very much for
the day after the fight. I'll be asking some questions.
Very cool. So give us an extra day when you come out to Vegas, and then we can ask you all these follow-up questions since you'll be coming out in early June.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right. Take care. Liam, thanks for the time, all right? Good luck tomorrow. See ya.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's Liam McGeary, former light heavyweight champion at Bellator MMA, who will be fighting tomorrow against Linton Vassell. And, it's a race, man. If you look good, sometimes the promotion goes in a certain way. So I'm sure Mo will be watching, and a lot of people will be paying attention.
Or if you say the right things, right?
Or if you say the right things, yeah. Bader fights Davis June 24th. And, once you've worn the belt, you want to get back there.
Oh, yeah.
So I imagine 2 fights, and Liam McGeary is going to make a case for himself if he gets past Vassell. And at the same time, King Mo is becoming one of the longest tenured fighters at Bellator, and the fact that they're going to give him Ryan Bader, I imagine he feels like he has some pull as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting times. All right, thank you to CJ for making that happen. We're going to take our next break here. It's MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. We have Anna Julaton here co-hosting with us. We'll be right back.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Quick shout out to Bo Thomas Lucas. He wanted to know, because the rankings came out, USA Today Sports, MMAjunkie, we put them out every Wednesday in the paper. Names? Well, that's the Twitter handle, at Bo Thomas Lucas. And he was wondering why Joanna Jędrzejczyk is not on Pound for Pound. So every Wednesday you'll see him in the USA Today paper, and every Tuesday you'll see him on MMAjunkie. The reason is I want to give you a more updated answer in about a week, because I'm going to huddle up with our editors-in-chief and some of the other guys that have helped contribute to this. But I think I can give you an answer right now. Even when Ronda Rousey was on a roll, just mopping everyone up, we really thought that it was a great record, but it was basically just judo and a submission. Judo and a submission. And when you really did put her up against all the other great male fighters that have been doing work for years, her skills just weren't doing what those others were doing. And there was some others that were also undefeated or only had the one loss, but to another great fighter. And so we didn't feel like it just fit in. A lot of it had to do with she just didn't have the competition. There was like 5 other great 35ers, and that was about it. This dramatic drop-off. So she wasn't being tested. We left it alone, you know. It was only one division at the time, and then it came strawweights. So now here we have Joanna Jędrzejczyk, also undefeated, showing a little bit more of a diverse, offensive attack than Ronda per se, especially with her striking. As far as like she's been put on her back, and I think there's been survival, not much offense. She's not really initiating any form of a takedown. Hell, if anything, she's just a cat. You're picking her up and she's landing on her feet, and so her athleticism appreciated. But we're gonna huddle up and see if maybe now may be the right time, or at least waiting till the 4 divisions start to blossom. Featherweight exists, except you have a champion way down there that's like just kind of not doing anything. We don't know what's happening with GDR. The flyweight division is going to be inaugurated this year. We're going to have the reality show, which we spoke to Anna Julaton about, and they're going to crown a champion. And of course, the other ones are now starting to flourish, especially strawweight. If you think about it, bantamweight's taken a little bit of a hit. Misha retired. Ronda looks like she's not coming back. They pulled GDR and Holly Holm and said, you guys figure out featherweight. Cyborg still doesn't have a permanent home. She's beefing. I guess the contract's up with her sometime in October or November. Check out Brendan Schaub's latest podcast. She was on there for at least an hour talking about everything that's happened and everything that may happen. But she may no longer be with the organization. We don't know what's going to happen there. And Valentina Shevchenko has teased going to 25. If you cut Tough Talk last week, Juliana Pena said she would go in the house. So 35, which was starting to build, is starting to crumble. So there's an answer for you, Bo Thomas. Like, what does that have to do with Joanna Jędrzejczyk would probably be your next question. You're right. What does it have to do with it? But I don't know. She may be able to crack it. I believe that there's just more offensive weapons that have been displayed, more MMA. She goes to a decision. Ronda armbars people in 8 seconds, 13 seconds, 46 seconds. So there you have it. It's just, if you look at pound for pound, I mean, it's all-time greats and current killers. So it's really hard to crack that. And Joanna, luckily, is being tested. I mean, she's gone through the number 2, 3, 4, I think even the 5 fighter. So she's doing some outstanding things, and that's something we're going to have to huddle up on. And it may even happen as soon as this week or next, and give that some more thought. I figured that was a great question. I was going to try and give you as best as an answer as I could. Also, shout out to Eugene from L.A. Remember he called in with the 6 picks? I told you, I keep track of shit. Cejudo fell out, but he also picked Edgar, who won. Okay. Maya, but he said by sub. He just won. Not by sub, but he won. I'll give it to him. JJ, Jędrzejczyk, but he did pick JDS. That one lost. He also picked Alvarez. And that one did not lose. Mm-hmm. It just was a no contest.
Did not win either.
Right. Marco from Waco left me one, and I was going through my notes. He had Lobov, OSP, and Alvi. Alvi gets a little bit of a pass. He injured himself like 10 seconds into the fight with Latus. I'm not saying that Latus wouldn't have won, but that one was, a tough loss for Alvi. You could tell he was hobbled. OSP clearly won, and then Lobov just was not his night against Cub Swanson. So there you have it. I'm keeping track. But it's funny how when they win, they call in on Monday and go, "What's up now, bitch? Do I know how to call them or what? I should be charging for my picks." I'm the man. Follow me. Blah blah blah. Well, when they lose, they never bring it up. It's like, how was your weekend? They just ask.
That's how it is, dude.
Yeah, I'm like that too. All right, Jason B, give me a nod of the head. We gonna squeeze in a tough recap with you? Yeah, you're good. You good to go? Okay, cool. Because it is we have a lot of gas, and I wasn't sure if we would be able to fit it in, but I think we will be able to fit it in, regardless if we add our next guest or not. But we got to take a break right now. We're going to pay some bills, and then you're going to get a sports update. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Tanner Saraceno and John Makdessi back-to-back. We may have some time after that to do the run here with Jason B., our intern. His stay with us is coming to a halt, so we got to get some I want to know what's happening outside of MMA. I want to know what happened in MMA history today, a Tough 25 recap, and I want him to plug his social media because I want you all to follow him. He's done a great job. He's risen to the occasion, and again, his days are numbered. But some of you junkies will get to meet him next week because he's extending his stay by a week, and we're happy about that. And Anna and Angela have also told us they'll be hanging out next week during the Junkie Gathering. So it's going to be some fun times. All right, folks, stay close. We'll be right back after these messages. All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Don't forget, right now on SiriusXM, Volume Channel 106, they're reflecting on the life of Soundgarden and Audio Slave frontman Chris Cornell, who passed away last night. Hear from people who attended the Soundgarden show last night in Detroit, as well as other artists and journalists who knew the man and his music, remembering Chris Cornell all day today on SiriusXM, Volume Channel 106. Joining us now on the hotline is Tanner Saraceno. He's going to be fighting and headlining CFFC 65. His opponent will be Sean Brady, and they'll be fighting in the main event for the vacant welterweight title. What's up, Tanner? How you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you guys doing?
Great, man. Thanks for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. Pleasure to have you on the show for the first time. I'm George. My co-host is Goes. We also have former boxing champion Anna Julaton in studio with us.
That's awesome. How you guys doing?
Great, man. So it's your week. You get to throw down here on Saturday in the main event. You get to go for a strap as well.
Absolutely. It's been a while since I fought for a title. So, I'm definitely excited to get back in there and keep collecting those belts. I fought for a couple when I was an amateur, and I've gathered a couple in grappling tournaments so far, and it's been my first chance at a pro title, and it's pretty exciting.
On what levels have you done grappling tournaments? Like, has it been like a local circuit, or have you been on any of those big grappling shows that are popping up everywhere?
I haven't done any of the bigger shows yet, just like, your Naga, couple like hometown ones, local, and then I think I don't know if I've done a no-gi yet. But,
I didn't catch that last part, but my next question was going to be: do you do gi or no gi?
I do whatever I can do to get matches. I'll do gi and no gi and just mix them all together.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, your manager was telling us that you had a run on the WWE Tough Enough show. What was that experience like for you?
It was, definitely a life-changing experience. It was a very interesting experience as far as it's not like anything I've ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
Being on a reality TV show for, I think I was gone for about 10 or 11 weeks or something like that. Yeah, at first I thought it was all kind of a joke. I didn't think it was real. Just the way they contacted me and everything. It seemed like like one of my buddies pranking me or something.
and you eventually got in there, I mean, so like we know a lot of MMA fighters that have dabbled in pro wrestling. They've gone to Ohio Valley Wrestling School, stuff like that, and they come back going, dude, that was one of the most miserable times ever. The bumps that they take, is something that they were not ready for.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ups and downs of both, the MMA world and the wrestling world. The wrestling world, you're intensely taking hits, and the MMA world, you take them, but it's more so of an accident when you get hit. You're trying to avoid that.
Right.
The good thing is the guys in there, they're trying their best not to hurt you. It's more so to put on a show, but at the same time, getting chopped in the chest by the Big Show, there's really only one way to do that. And unfortunately, it is taking that chop right in the chest, which I did. There's really no way around that.
Oof.
So some of it's kind of like a necessary evil.
So, wait, I was going to turn it over to my co-host right now because he's got some questions, but I'm curious. I got to follow up on this. I'm curious about those chops as well, all the way from the days of Wahoo McDaniel, for crying out loud. I'm an older cat. So where does the impact the worst? Like in your chest or near your throat or both? And are you feeling the whole palm or just one of the fingers, two of the fingers? Like, I'm sure people do it in different ways, but what's like the worst type of chop out there?
It kind of varies. So I ended up getting chopped by Billy Gunn, Booker T, and the Big Show.
Jeez.
Billy Gunn, he's a big guy, and he is a house of a man, and he really throws everything he's got into it, and he gets his whole body in there. So his is kind of just, it's a very powerful thud. Booker T puts a little bit more flash and some more snap on it. That's more of, kind of like a whipping effect.
Uh-huh.
And the Big Show is like getting a pack of frozen bratwurst shot at you from an air cannon at very close range. That is, and you feel that go through your whole torso and kind of just like if you're up close at a concert to the speakers, you can just feel that your inside's moving.
Right.
I guess that'd be the best way to describe it.
Tanner Saraceno, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, who'll be fighting at CFFC 65 this Saturday for the vacant welterweight title against Sean Brady. For more information on how you can get that pay-per-view, you go to cffc.tv, and all the information there on ordering will be there for you. All right, Goes, what do you have for Tanner?
Tanner, you mentioned that you were in that on that reality show. I think was it 8 weeks or 10 weeks?
I think it was about 10 or 11 weeks total.
Mm-hmm.
We were there, I think, for about a week or two, or a week and a half or so before we started actually filming the show, with the tryouts and everything.
So that's kind of similar to what a lot of MMA fighters will do as far as their camps. Can you talk about maybe what the differences are as far as aches and pains and all that from one camp to the other?
That was honestly, I've actually never felt healthier than when I was on that show. I normally walk around at about 185, 190 if I'm getting a little happy, and 195 if I'm extremely happy. And, when I was on the show, all I had to do was eat, sleep, and work out. So I had a lot of time to recover and really test my body athletically. So I actually put on about 17 pounds. I think the biggest I hit there was, I think, about 202 or 203, and I still had, probably roughly the same body composition. So I put on a good amount of muscle and just felt very, very healthy. A lot of my aches and pains went away. I've got neck and back issues I'm constantly feeling from grappling for so long, and those, not having someone crank on your head every day, it's amazing how fast it gets better. And certainly the added muscle and body weight help. Now, when you step into an MMA camp, it's a lot different when you're in there and the guy's literally trying to, inflict damage on you. They're not trying to injure you, but they are trying to hurt you. They are trying to outposition you, control you, submit you, and there are those surprise, little tweaks and pops that come from that. So, fortunately, I haven't had anything, since my ankle break in one of my MMA fights. I haven't had anything drastic that's really set me back or kept me out of training too much. Just, little nuisances here and there, but nothing major, and I've actually been pretty healthy.
You're kind of still young in your MMA career. Have you felt like you've fallen into a routine that you like so far, or are you still testing things out?
I'm certainly still testing things out, and I am fairly young in MMA. I've only been training. I think I'm coming up on 4 years now. Between from when I started training MMA and fighting, and a lot of my fights are first, or I think there's a couple second round finishes, but I haven't had much time inside of the cage because of that. So I'm fairly young there. So in the cage and with my training, I'm always trying new things and new recoveries, new workouts, new equipment, locations as far as, kind of cross-training. I love the facility I'm in, Revolution Martial Arts, and, I don't ever plan on leaving there. We got some very big things in the future planned with the gym, and just continually growing, and the coaching staff is incredible. But, I certainly do like trying out new things. I'm kind of like being a yes man sort of thing, and really exploring every venue you can. So if I have the chance to train at another team's camp and maybe just get some rounds in with other guys, different looks, I absolutely love doing that and love traveling. And that's one of the beauties of mixed martial arts, is the traveling that can come along with being in the sport.
Revolution's in South Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, very cool. Awesome, man. Well, listen, Cage Fury Fighting Championship 65 has 3 world titles, including the vacant one that Tanner Saraceno and Sean Brady will be disputing. Again, go to cffc.tv for more information on how you can order that pay-per-view. Also, the fights will be broadcast on CBS Sports Network about a week or 2 later, and you can watch them for free there. Tanner, thank you very much for the time here on the show. And I got to ask one last question before we let you go. What was your finishing move or your go-to move when you were pro wrestling?
So right towards the end, right before I actually got got the boot from the show, we started that, and the signature was just a basic jump off the top ropes. I think I was the only guy that was on the show that could get up there and actually get off and get some air. So we wanted to try some flying, and that was going to be my finisher: jump off the top rope and kind of double fist to the face.
Damn.
All the way down.
So you'd come in like a missile, head first with 2 fists.
I'll leave that up to the imagination, but there's tons of variability we had with it. We added a good old-fashioned high kick to try and incorporate my MMA in there, and never really had something completely solid that's still up in the air what it's going to be. Wrestling's still kind of there in the back, and there's certainly a future with it. So we're always open to new ideas, and if anyone has anything cool I think I could pull off, I'd be more than happy to hear it.
I would have called it whack, take that. That way when you stood on the ropes, you would raise your hands, and everybody would go, whoa. And as he jumps and he leads with his hands, everybody would go, whack, take that.
Yeah, I'm down.
I just made that up. What do you think, Tanner? Am I close? Am I warm? Or are you just going to hang up on me right now?
I'm starting to get bad signals, so I don't know.
All right, buddy. Listen, it's great to meet you. Thanks for your time. Good luck on Saturday, and hopefully we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.
Take care, Tanner. What was so bad about whack? Take that. You got to get the crowd involved.
Yeah, but how you
You can't just call it like the People's Double Fist or Lights Out. I mean, I guess you could call it Lights Out or something.
Missile idea
but picture this. So he's standing on the ropes, and then he just do one of those bows to glory, like this, or you're accepting, the crowd's embrace of what you're about to do. And as you stand there and you jump, everyone goes, oh, and then he goes, boom, whack, take that. People would wear whack, take that T-shirts.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
What's so bad about it?
No, I just don't know how you're going to get the crowd. Like, how do you start that?
You just
okay, so as you're climbing, you do as you're climbing, you kind of like how Josh Barnett does the cutthroat.
Yeah.
So as you I don't want to just borrow that one, but let's say you did something like that, and everyone goes, "Oh, this is it. The match is about to end, right?" And as he stands up, whack, take that.
No, I get that part, but how do they know? Like,
as he's climbing the ropes,
hey, next time I go up, make sure you say this, or like, is that his catchphrase?
Well, like the promotion has to work with you. So let's say you do it on your first one. And Lillian Garcia puts the microphone or whatever and says, "What was that?" And then you go, "Whack, take that." And you got to let it build some steam. WTT, I don't know. You start selling it. You toss the T-shirts to the audience. You build your own brand, and yeah. But I guess if you don't want to call it whack, take that. That does sound wacky. That's what the crowd's saying. You could call it like Lights Out or the Lights Out with the double fit. I don't know. Yeah, wrestling is wacky for sure. I'm wacky, for crying out loud. I better just shut up. All right, quick commercial. When we come back, we'll talk to John Makdessi.
Danny, the cameras are live, so I don't say anything stupid.
Ray Perez is a cabron. That comes from Adam Zuniga.
Look at her face.
Graham Doob says, Danny, how can we check out all your amazing music? Is there a SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, music album, blah, blah, blah? Help us out, Danny.
Sorry, I missed that. I was just talking to John.
Graham Doob wants to, in the Facebook chat, wants to know how we can check out all your amazing music. Where do you prefer, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play?
Well, if he just wants to stream, then I would say...
it says are there any music album or single tracks we can grab?
Oh, absolutely. iTunes, Google Play, Apple Music, any of those places you can buy it. If you just want to stream it, it's Spotify or I guess Apple Play streams and buys too.
He also says he loves Paul Daly. He made Rory smile. It's pretty funny. He did. He told him relax a little bit, didn't he? When they were facing off. And if you make Rory, will you tell him chill out? Yeah. And if you make Rory laugh, that is an accomplishment.
I think it's like reverse psychology.
Ashan Al-Dahabi says, hey, no music and words playing. I don't know what he's talking about. Daniel Fajardo says, rest in peace. Yes, for sure. Tell me a little bit more, Goes, about, do you know anything about this?
The weird thing is I don't think they've said
they don't
how
have any
he
details.
passed away,
It's weird.
right?
Yeah.
So he actually had a concert last night?
Huh?
Wow. I don't want to assume, but, you know, the rock and roll lifestyle. Style.
Charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tell your friends and family about SiriusXM's free listening preview that's running through May 30th. They'll hear 100 channels of commercial-free music, plus sports, news, talk, and entertainment, including the all-new Beatles channel that launches this morning at 9:09 Eastern. Tell everyone you know to press the SAT button, or the SAT button if you want to call it that, on the radio to enjoy this special listening event. For a complete channel listing and special subscription offers, they can also visit SiriusXM.com/free listen. Joining us now on the hotline is UFC lightweight John Makdessi. What's up, John? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. We're just having fun here talking music and trying to figure out what happened to this gentleman that lost his life yesterday, Chris Cornell in Detroit after a concert. You know any details?
No, actually, I didn't hear the story. What happened?
Well, he, let's see, the band Soundgarden and Audioslave, he sang for them, and Goes can take it from there because that's the little I know about him.
I don't know that much. I just know that he passed away, but the odd thing is nobody's really said how or anything. He had a show last night, and I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunate. The rock and roll lifestyle. Yeah, exactly. Hey, tell me something. I was telling the audience and everybody here, the rock and roll lifestyle. I mean, you can assume, maybe what may have happened, but obviously I won't say anything like that. I don't want to throw out any allegations or rumors. But how about, what I'm curious about is the MMA lifestyle. Is there a lifestyle to being a fighter, or, do you live it, or do you just basically chill out and you're just John Makdessi?
Yeah, of course, I can only talk for myself, but it's very simple to get caught up to the webs. It's very simple to especially if you're on a high. People around you, the circle, and the entourage. Things can get out of control. But me personally, I always try to stay humble, grounded. I'm always, of course, you're a human being. You like to enjoy yourself. It's a balance. You need to find balance, and that's what I try to do with myself, is always try to find balance, and also try to enjoy yourself at the same time, because, it's a long road, it's ups and downs as a fighting, being a professional fighter, but, nobody's perfect.
What's the coolest thing about being a fighter, John?
Basically living my dream is to training full time, and pretty much I grew up as a martial artist, fighting, training, fighting keeps me disciplined, keeps me humble, keeps me on the right direction. So that's probably the best thing, in a sense of being able to do what you love.
What's the coolest thing a fan has ever done for you?
Coolest thing?
Yeah.
Just sending me out messages, just moral support, showing all my fans, showing me love all the time, unconditional love, and just, getting fan mails, and just, especially from the young generations, sending me messages saying that they look up to me and I'm an inspiration. So if I can be a good role model to the younger generation, that's a bonus for me.
You like being famous?
Do I like being famous? You're always fighting with your egoistic, self and your spiritual self. There's always two sides. sometimes it's good, sometimes bad. It's a little complex, but I mean, famous for me, it's all relative. At the end of the day, I'm not somebody that strives to be famous. You know what I mean? It comes with the territory. You know what I mean? You kind of it comes with being in the spotlight. You know what I'm trying to say. But that's not something that was never my first goal to try to become famous. It was always to be a champion and to fight for my legacy.
One of your teammates is very famous, George St. Pierre. Do you ever just look across the room and go, man, he's too famous? Like, would you want to have that type of popularity? I mean, it also comes with, he's also accomplished a lot of things, and there's a lot of money that goes with that. But does it ever just look like it's too much?
I mean, listen, of course, there's, you look at other athletes, you look at their successes and this and that, but I also try to stay humble, try to focus on, I always look at my plate. I don't look at too much on other people's plates. I try to focus on myself, so, I mean, of course, would I want to be in his shoes? I mean, there's in some situations I would love to be in his shoes, and there's some other situations that I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. Being especially George St. Pierre. God knows what he has to go through on a day-to-day basis. It's not easy being a professional athlete. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. So I mean, like I said, it's something that you really have to be you have to really pay attention to.
One of my co-hosts for the day, Anna Julaton, former boxing champ, she's chilling here with us. What'd you think of those three questions? Like, what's the coolest thing that's ever happened to you, Anna? From a fan.
Oh, I think I have to agree with John in terms of just being able to wake up every day and just do what you, just train. And,
right.
I think one of my earliest memories was being a child and watching Bruce Lee in the Chinese Connection, and just me just relating to that, just understanding the fight game and just understanding identity, especially in that story form, and just being able to, just find my way, find my life through that passion, just through the martial arts. I think that's something that, I'm very lucky to, pursue.
Yeah. And much like I asked him about GSP, what about within your circle? Could you ever handle Floyd's lifestyle?
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
It's totally hard. You gotta, when you're at the top, it's lonely, and you have to select a very few people who you can trust and be yourself around with, and people who are gonna say the right things in your ear. It's definitely a hard lifestyle to pursue. So fame and fortune. I remember Eric Spoelstra telling me this when he was having his highlight reels with the Miami Heat, and he would say that's such a
Eric Spoelstra, the coach?
Eric Spoelstra.
Okay.
Yeah, we rep out our Filipino community.
You know him?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm a longtime Warriors fan. I'm not on the bandwagon or anything like that. So if anyone who knows the Warriors, Donald Foyle, Michael Petras, Ronnie Turioff, I mean, these are my friends, and it was back in those days, and I remember whenever Eric would have the Miami Heat come out to the Bay Area, I'll usually get tickets through his side, and then I'll go to the other Warrior games. But then it was pretty cool. He's a really cool cat, really cool guy, and he's all about promoting the Filipino heritage. And so I got to pick his brain a little bit, because at that time I was also working with Freddie Roach, and I wanted to see what was the common denominator with being a great coach.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah.
John Makdessi, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Goes, what do you have for John?
John, on your worst day in practice, what is the thought that goes through your head that lifts you up to be able to get back on the horse and do better the next day?
Well, working with high-level athletes, and of course, your ego is always going to be tested. Your skills are always going to be tested. So I always try to stay positive. I always try to stay an optimistic mindset. Just I can fix it. What went wrong? You have to assess. You have to always try to. Especially me, I'm very deep in my thoughts. So sometimes you have to. It's a balance of not overthinking, and but in the same time try to be fully present. And you got to ask yourself. That's why martial arts. Of course, Bruce Lee was one of my inspirations and one of my role models, and he said it the best. To be 100% honest to yourself is very hard to do, and in practice, you make a mistake. You probably got distracted by a thought or by somebody walked by you or any type of distraction. Especially in today's world, there's a lot of distractions. especially me with having ADHD and all these different symptoms, so it's a lot of focus, concentration, so that's the biggest challenge. And just try to take day by day, 20 feet at a time.
Has anything outside of MMA ever matched the high that you can get from fighting?
Unfortunately, no, man, no. Being in the, fighting martial arts was my life. I was obsessed, and it's something it's something that you really need to. It's not easy, you have to really go with the flow, for me, this was for me, it was something that I always dreamt about. So, it's something that's pretty high.
Well, thanks for answering these questions. We usually have you on after a fight or before a fight, so we're always we're always talking about that. And we've had you on the show many times, so we got to know a little bit more about you. Now, right now you're coming off a loss, and a lot of dance cards are filling up. There's the UFC in Anaheim at the end of July is already being talked about. I haven't seen your name populate just yet. So what's going on, John, this summer for you? You healthy? You ready to go? Give me some names you'd like to fight.
Yeah, man, of course. I haven't fought since December. It's almost been 6 months. My management has been trying to reach out to the UFC. Apparently, they're working on something, but I still haven't heard any news. So if I need to politely ask if any fighter will step up and fight me, then then here I am, making a pledge to invite someone to fight me, or I'll pick a fight. If you're following my social media, I watched not too long the Crop Swanson fight with Artem Lobov. The McGregor team. Anyone that knows me, I come from a Taekwondo karate background, and of course, the money fight. Every fighter wants to become a champion. Every fighter wants to fight Conor McGregor. I'm obviously realistically having some fallbacks. So I gotta step back and obviously I would love to fight a top 10 guy. Get back to a title contention. Obviously giving me a Donald Cerrone fight and giving me a new guy. So it's one of those things where it's very tough. I'm not in a position to pick and choose my opponents, but top of my head, at Artem Lobov, I find that he's a good matchup for me. Nick, what's his name? Nick Lent, Nick Lent, Reza Madadi, Bobby Green, Eddie Alvarez, Jim Miller, Ale Quinta, Chris Wade. These are top of my head, top 155ers. I find that will give a good matchup, give me test my skills and hopefully get back to the title contention.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lobov just fought at featherweight, but I know he's also fought at lightweight. But I like that one because you're right. He likes to go out there and put on a show. So I think he'd be tailor-made for you. Is that the one that you prefer out of all of them?
Yeah, man. I honestly, I would love to fight McGregor guys because I think they're all running on the high. If you look at Artem Lobov, he got a main event card. I have no idea how he got to the main event card. To be honest with you, look at his record and stuff. Who did he fight? I fought top guys. I fought guys much bigger than me, and relatively, I'm a small 155er. People want me to cut to 145, but my health comes first. I have a nutrition coach, and he doesn't really recommend me. He even said, he goes, if you want to cut to 145, he's like, I don't want to be a part of that. So if and he's my nutrition coach, so you can imagine. So 155. Ideally, it's healthy. Of course, I'm going to have a disadvantage, but this is the fighting business. There is no such thing as you're not always going to have an advantage. But yeah, he reminded me of Barney the T-Rex. I did a little poem. I called him out. I made it humor. People want. I'm realizing the game has changed. You gotta adapt to the game. Things have been changing. People are calling out people. They want the fighters to be more active on social media, and that's what I'm trying to do. I come from a traditional background. Nobody teaches you how to talk trash and how to go, sell yourself. I'm not a good salesperson, but at the end of the day, this is my life, and if I have to go out there and pick fights, if I have to go there and start talking and expressing myself through words, then fuck it, I'll do it, and I think that Artem Lobov is a good matchup. But like I said, there's a whole fucking stack of guys in 155 division. Like I mentioned, of course I would love to fight a top 10. Jim Miller, Eddie Alvarez, those guys, they're boxers. They're my size. They'll come. They'll stand up and they'll brawl. Fans want to see excitement, and that's what I always try to do. Give the fans excitement.
Let's do it. UFC 216, September 9th Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So we'll make it a home game for you, Makdessi. How's that sound?
Fuck, man, honestly, whatever comes my way, I'll take it.
All right, my man. Great to catch up with you. We got to move on, but I like that you threw out some names, and hopefully one of those takes the invite, and we can get you a fight by the summertime.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, man.
All right.
So.
Take care, John. We'll see you.
Thank
All
you
right,
guys.
folks.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to take a break here. When we come back, we've added Jason Knight to today's show. He's coming off a win at UFC 211 over Chaz Skelly. Stay close. We'll be right back. Anna Julaton in the house. Junkie Nation, we're going to talk to Jason Knight. We just added him. He's going to be on the show in about 30 seconds. But let me tell you something. This young lady has a real cool fan story, and it involves a $5,000 burger. So hang in there with us after we talk to Jason Knight. 17-2 overall, and now 4-1 in the UFC. We will get that story out of Anna Julaton. But right now, it's Jason Knight's time. He just came off a win over Chaz Skelly, a great win out at UFC 211. What's up, Jason? How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing today?
Good. Hey, has a fan ever bought you a $5,000 burger?
Sorry?
As a fan of MMA, a fan of yours ever bought you a $5,000 burger?
No, definitely not a $5,000 burger.
Do they buy you drinks?
I'd probably tell him it's a retard that bought me a $5,000 burger. There ain't a burger in this world worth $5,000.
Well, my co-host is going to share a story with us later on about that. She's a former boxing champion. But I'll tell you what, with the performance you had, people be buying you drinks out there in Mississippi for the next couple months, because that was one hell of a scrap. We got a finish. Your fans, they kept panning to them. They all had the T-shirts. I love seeing all that.
Yeah, man, I had a pretty big support group out there the other night. I brought 50 people, just from right here at home, family and friends and stuff. And then on top of that, I had a bunch of people from out there in Texas that came to watch me, too.
That was legit, man. And everybody, again, rocking the blue T-shirts. I really enjoyed seeing that. It's great to get that type of support. I imagine with the finish, the bonus, Chaz Skelly being such a tough opponent, was this your greatest night of combat sports ever?
Yeah, as far as my purse goes, it was by far the best night for me. And Chaz is a tough test and a real tough opponent. I don't really believe that he was my toughest opponent to date or anything, but he was definitely the biggest step in the right direction.
And so Jason has 4 wins in the UFC, and 3 of them have come with a $50,000 bonus. How about that? That's a showman right there.
Amazing.
Yeah. What are you doing anything fun with that money? You heading down to the Caribbean and maybe some exotic island to hang out and relax?
Yes, man. I'm paying off my house. I owe another $20,000, and I have it paid off. I just went out and bought me a nice little truck. I didn't spend but like $6,000 on it, but got me a 4-wheel drive Chevy Tahoe, and looks real nice and everything. It'll probably wind up being a new motor within the next year or two. It's got a lot of miles on it, but I would much rather pay cash for something and then add another motor than to go out and give me a note. So I just decided to go ahead and grab something that looks nice, that I like, and drive it until the motor blows up, and I'll throw me a new one in here.
This guy's awesome, man. Jason Knight joining us here on MMAjunkie Radio. Again, he defeated Chaz Skelly at UFC 211. I know things cooled off towards the end of the show there, a couple decisions, but, man, early on in the Fight Pass portion, the prelims, these guys were scrapping, and this was one of my favorite fights. What do you have for Jason Knight?
Jason, a lot of back and forth action, as George said, in that fight. If you were to meet a new person that had never seen you fight, what fight would you direct them to see? What would be like your signature fight? Because this one's got to be high up there, right?
Yeah, man, this is probably definitely one of those signature fights. But, it depends on what I'm trying to prove to them. If I'm trying to prove to them that I'm a badass, I would send them to, this fight and let them see, that I dominated Chaz Skelly, who was a very tough opponent, and I finished a guy who had never been finished before. But, if I was just trying to show them my toughness and my heart, then I would direct them to the Musa Kamanaya fight at Titan FC 35 because he beat the hell out of me the first round, and my heart, my determination, it didn't let me quit. And I wound up coming back and tapping him out and, got the biggest comeback victory of my career so far.
If you haven't had the conversation already, when do you have it with the UFC brass as far as who's next for you?
I don't have a clue who's next or anything, but I'm trying to get back in there in July. I don't know, if they're going to make that happen, but I told them that I want July, and hopefully they'll get on the ball and make it happen for me. Don't back in that conflict spot.
Let me tell you something, man. I feel like you can start calling the shots a little bit here. You're 17-2 overall. You appeal to a demographic. A lot of people became fans on Saturday night. You're 4-1 in the UFC. You're a bonus machine, and you just took out a tough hombre in Chaz Skelly. So if you want to fight frequently, I think you can pull it off, man. A lot of people are waiting to see what your next move will be.
I'm just hoping that they'll get me back in there as soon as possible. And, I believe that next there's got to be a top 15 opponent. They've got to give me somebody who's on up there because, I've got a 4-fight win streak, and, there's not a whole lot of people that do that in the UFC, especially not a 4-fight win streak with 3 bonuses out of the 4 fights. And hopefully they'll open their damn eyes and realize that Jason has to hand down, keep me on the schedule regularly.
Is there a particular name you'd like to mix it up with?
Man, I want to fight Duho Choi. Everybody knows that, but hell, I would like to fight somebody like Cub Swanson or something like that. And if they want to, give me Yair Rodriguez, because I seen the other night, that I believe I can pretty much dominate that fight. Yeah, he's got good stand-up and everything, but he's got good stand-up whenever he's on the outside. And I believe, that fight with Yair Rodriguez would probably go a lot like the Alex Caceres fight. I'm pretty positive that I can win that fight pretty easily.
All right, my man. Well, I like any of those names. Choi, Swanson, Rodriguez, you name it. I'm a Jason Knight fan. You've been doing some great work. Thanks for giving us some time here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. And go enjoy that new Chevrolet Tahoe, my man. Thanks for the time, all right, bud?
Yes, sir. I've got my deviated septum fixed this morning.
Oh, wow.
I just had surgery this morning, and I've got about 2 weeks worth of recovery time. And now that 145-pound division, now that I can breathe, they better watch it out, because I'm coming and gonna look like a whole different fighter next time.
That's what's up. All right, Jason Knight. Thanks for the time, brother. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me.
All right, we'll see you. That guy's cool without even knowing it. Like, he's literally a G in my book. I can't wait to see him fight again. He's just kind of like, yeah, I paid off my house and I got a new car, and I'm just chugging along here. But he's popular, dude. He's cracking them, the underground and Reddit and other spots. Twitter was blowing up. People love this guy.
I didn't tell you this, but I felt bad because earlier Anna said that she had to do her workout even earlier to make it here. And I felt bad for her. Until I found out this dude had surgery on a deviated septum and then took this interview?
Mm-hmm.
That's G, dude. He kind of trumped you, man, a little bit. Do you have any surgeries this morning?
No, not today. Thank
Man,
goodness.
I would tell you leave me alone for a week, a month.
Yeah. Tell me about the $5,000 burger.
Oh, okay. So just a little backstory on it. It's when I won my first world title, I was a 7-1 underdog, right? And so when they raised my hand and I had to stay just a few hours afterwards, just to
what city was this in?
It was in San Jose.
Okay.
When they used to have the HP Pavilion, it was me versus Kelsey Jeffries. I was a 7-1 underdog because I had like 6 pro fights. She had like over 42 wins, and that's like her home base and stuff. And it was a great battle, but so anyway, we had to do a whole bunch of interviews right afterwards, and I didn't get out of there till about 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and the only thing that was open at night was Denny's. Going to Denny's, ordered a burger, became a tradition ever since. So after every fight, every title fight, I'd just go out and have a burger. And so ever since I started training out here in Vegas, me and my team, we just went on a search, looking for the best burgers, So we've been going down the strip, going through different casinos, and we passed by here over at Fleur, and we were talking with the Chef Lupe, and if any of you guys go in there, they're huge fight fans. Like, it's pretty fun to talk to some of the workers there because they'll have a background in jiu-jitsu or boxing or something like that, and you could just actually sit there and just have a intellectual conversation about fighting over there. And I thought it's just a pretty cool vibe for me. And so we were talking to Chef Lupe, and he was I was explaining this to him, and then he says, well, over here we have the $5,000 burger. Would you like to try it? I said, hell yeah, I would love to try it. And so what makes it a $5,000 burger is it's paired with this expensive wine bottle. So it's paired with the burger, and the burger, it's obviously high quality meat with tons of truffles, and it's just so it's an interesting twist because they try to make it fancy, but it's like a good old-fashioned American burger. Nice, thick, juicy. You got the bacon, you got the truffles, you got all this and all that. And I wasn't too concerned about the wine. That was the one that cost $5,000. And the burger itself, because it has all the truffle, would be about $300. But because of how the pricing point of it, it's almost like you're just basically buying the wine. Yeah, and they'll give you the burger for free. And so I just downed that burger so hard, and it was pretty cool just because the chef, he is a huge fight fan too. He in fact, I think he sparred a pro fighter. I can't remember if it was like Fernando Vargas or something like that. He's a pretty big dude, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
And
Very
Angelo
cool.
had a burger too. I have a clip.
No.
This is a tasty burger.
That does sound like Angelo. Yeah. Spot on. All right. We got to get this last break out of the way before our producer has a heart attack. We split things up a little bit here, but I applaud him for being able to make moves on the fly. So we'll get this last break out of the way. When we come back, Jason B., the intern, will do his thing. We got to recap Tough 25, Episode 5. Exactly. Team Dillashaw 4-0 going into last night against Team Garbrandt. And we had a battle that featured who, Jason? Oh, that's right. It was Hyder and Diego. I watched it, but I watched it late at night. I was here till like 10 p.m., so I'm running on fumes here. All right, well, we'll do all that when we come back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, we're coming down this home stretch for real this time, and we may extend it into a quick little OT. Thanks to Danny for always being so flexible. Jason B. is starting to close out his tenure here as our intern, and he's been recapping Tough. That was his #1 assignment, along with MMA History Today, and filling us in from time to time what's happening in the world outside of mixed martial arts. Let's start with that. Well, what can we look forward to tonight? Is there NHL or NBA, or is the night off in terms of playoff games?
NBA night off.
Okay.
Yesterday the Cavs played the Boston Celtics in their Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
They didn't play them.
They destroyed them.
Them up, man. At home, Boston, too. Boston fans were chiming in. Remember they were chiming in on that thread? I revisited it. Hey, how you guys doing? All I see is you guys are hosting Game 1 and you're down 30 at half. What was that? That was awful, Celtics.
So they're going to play Game 2 tomorrow night.
Yeah, why even bother? Just send the Cavs to meet the winner of the Warriors and the Spurs.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to have, is this the third time they're playing, I think? The Cavs and Golden State Warriors in the finals?
It may be, yeah.
Dang, that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But the Ducks play the Nashville Predators tonight in Game 3 of their series. They're going back to Nashville, and Nashville is up in that series 2-1. So
wait, this is Game 3 and they're up 2-1? This is Game 4 then?
Correct.
Game 4,
There
okay.
you go.
All right, cool.
A lot of numbers in my head right now.
Right. And how about MMA history today? Anything of note?
Yeah, 4 years ago today, Vitor Belfort spoiled Luke Rockhold's UFC debut when he knocked him out.
Man, I remember
with that kick, that heel, spinning heel kick, knocked him flat out cold, and he went on a run there. He knocked out Bisbing along with Hendo too with a kick, Olin kicks.
3 KOs. I don't know if they were all in the first round, but it was 3 KOs. He was the fighter of the year in 2013.
Yeah, so, and then of course he ran into Chris Wyman and didn't win the title, but he had a good little run there with head kicks. So
his last fight's coming up here in less than a month.
Yep, in Rio against Nate Marquardt. So
last night was episode 5, and thank you to our friends
at MMA History Today, Twitter and Instagram. Go follow them. They have loads of content, and you know what? They bring up lots of things in the history, not just the stuff we read. So go check them out.
Yeah, it's great. As soon as you're talking about it, I picture it, and it allows me to reminisce. All right, episode 5 last night, The Ultimate Fighter, season 25.
You should walk out to this Anna in your next fight.
No, 100%. Your opponent wouldn't know what to think. Episode 5 went down last night, and it was the battle between the teammates Haider Hassan and Diego Lima, who are both from ATT. And this kind of developed because Haider, I don't know if he was playing off emotions, that, Cody was down 4-0, but I think he kind of mentioned, oh, you know what, I'll fight Diego. That's an easy fight. And it's his teammate. And now he's going back, and Cody's like, yeah, let's make that fight happen. And last week he was like, oh, well, I'll fight Joe. It's like, well, you kind of put yourself in this position. You said it was an easy fight. What is your coach going to think? So this whole match came up, and to start the episode, he was apologetic. I love you, bro, and saying, it's all business. And Diego kind of seemed like, yeah, I know it's all business. Like, let's go out there and do our thing. And Haider was he was caught up in emotions. I feel like he felt guilty that this matchup was happening because, in the Tough House, no one wants to fight their teammate right off the bat. But going into it, Diego, long, tall striker, likes to use kick, and Haider Hassan, who made it to the finals in the ATT versus Black Zillions season, Tough 21, he fought 3 times in 17 days, and all those fights were wars. He was coming forward, big shots, always looking for that right hand, and he was on a run. Of course, he lost in the finale, but he had a good run there. The only thing I'm worried about with Haider going into this fight was submission defense, because he gets caught sometimes. So I think Diego's kind of game plan was to take him down, look for that rear naked or whatever he did, and that's exactly how the fight played out. Diego came out, Haider was ultra aggressive, and you could hear TJ say, he's being over-aggressive, look for the takedown. So what did Diego do? Look for the takedown, got his back eventually, was looking for the rear naked choke a couple times, but Haider did a good job not letting it under his chin, so it was more of just a pain lock, really. So he didn't get under the chin. Haider eventually stood up to end the first round, landed a couple strikes. But I would have to give the first round to Diego. He controlled it on the ground and was locking in attempts to submit her with the rear naked.
All right, catch your breath there just a second. I'm going to do a soft closing here. I want to thank Liam Mcgery, Tanner Saraceno, John Makdessi, and Jason Knight. Thank you to CJ, Hector Castro, making things happen. I want to thank Mitch Mayberger for also helping us out, and I got to thank myself. I booked the Jason Knight interview. All right, folks, a soft ending here. We're just going to extend the show by a few minutes. We'll allow Jason to finish up episode 5, Tough 25 recap, and then we'll let Anna tell us her final decision on where she wants her career to go. Is it going to be Bellator, Tough, boxing, and we'll do some social media plugs. So a quick soft ending. We'll be right back in 10 seconds.
I'm gonna keep on the run. I'm gonna have me some fun. It cost me my very last dime. If I wind up broke, well, I'll always remember that I had a swinging time.
You guys are clear for overtime.
And we're back. So we were at round 2.
Yep, so I had to give Diego round 1. He controlled it on the ground. But to enter the second round, Haider came out more aggressive than he was the first round, looking for those shots. But Diego did a good job of keeping the distance, and he had a lot of trouble when he was in the UFC and lost to Eddie Gordon this way, where he backed up against the cage and guys teed off on him. But so he did a good job of circling out and making sure Heido coming forward with the double jab in the right, the overhand right, slipping that and making it his fight, getting in the middle, using those kicks. Eventually, he took his back in the clinch, dragged him down, had back mount, was looking for the rear naked choke, and pretty much just controlled him. The whole fight, he was looking for that choke. It wasn't there, but he was throwing shots too and looking for the submission, so the judges had to give it to him. So Heider did a great job on the feet. He was looking for the knockout punch, but at times I really felt like he would back up at some points too. Like he would have Diego backing up, and they would stand there and go back to the middle, and I'm going, you want to make it a dirty fight. You want to brawl with him. You want to back him up against the cage.
And they're using the smaller cage, too.
Exactly. So I didn't really understand that. I don't know if it played with emotions, with, oh, that's my friend. I don't want to give him a devastating knockout, but ultimately you're in this to advance your career. I don't know if the whole teammate thing played off in any way, or he just went in there and said, I'm going to do what I have to do. But in the end, Diego had the better game plan, was more of a well-rounded fighter, and ended up winning it 20-18. So
Dillashaw's up 5-0.
I pray that the MMA gods, I know it's already pre-taped, somehow Cody gets a win, because there's only like 2 more preliminary fights. So I just hope Cody gets one win. One win.
Did you see Cody made him do the cranial release?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that at Extreme Couture?
I don't think I've seen it at Extreme
I've
Couture.
seen it, yeah.
Yeah, that looks awful.
Yeah, it does.
How much would you do it for?
$200.
200?
200?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think we can rally that between the junkies.
Yeah, I think we can.
Maybe that should be an event at the Junkie Gathering.
I got 2 nostrils.
Oh, wow. He wants 400. All right. What are next week's matchups?
It is Julian Lima, and he's...
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, 11
Julian Lane. Julian Lane.
Lane, sorry. Not Lima. Julian Lane.
He wants the bang, bro.
And he does want to.
This one looks like a good one. Looks like people are talking trash. The coaches get into it.
Yep.
By that, I mean Buchholz and Dwayne Ludwig.
So that's going to be interesting because we haven't seen the whole Ludwig thing on the side of this.
So we'll see
so
what
far
that's
in the first
like.
5 episodes.
It's going to be a good drama-filled show.
Yeah, so I'm just praying.
All right.
Praying Julian can get a win for Team Cody.
Good job, Jason B.
Thank you.
All right. Anna, so thank you for doing the show. It's been great. You've thought about it a little bit. We know there's some possibilities out there. I guess if you had to write your own script, where do you think you want to do here in the next few months?
Well, definitely fight. I mean, it all depends on the opportunity. I mean, right now, like I feel like I'm catching the wind. You know, I feel like I've been able to experiment over the past couple of years, and for whatever reason, it's funny. I was talking about it earlier with one of my friends, and things are a lot more clearer. I have more of a direction. I feel like, you know, the answer's just right in front of my face. You know, so
Was the answer across the street at the Palace Station? Because I think that determines everything. Because if you go there and they just go, nah, well, now you have boxing, Bellator, and the other organization out there that may want to do business with you. But at the same time, if they say, that's our girl, you know, come in this house. You're in a tournament now where a belt's awarded. That's very prestigious. And obviously, I think they start filming pretty close to when I think they say stay in town and they start the filming. I don't know how it works. But will you be there at Palace Station to try out?
We'll see. So I'm looking forward to seeing Empire Sports Marketing doing their thing. And, you know, I'm just doing my job and just staying in the gym.
All right. Anna Julaton on Twitter. What else? Do you like to Snapchat and all that other stuff? Or where do you do most of your social media work?
Social media, gosh, there's so much. It's so time consuming for me. So I try to keep everything, you know, just simple with Instagram. I do most of it on Instagram, but I can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and have my website and such like that. But, you know, when training comes, I mean, geez, every second counts. Like I was telling Ghost today, I had to get my run in, you know. I gotta do
How
all
far
this
did you run today?
Polish up. Well, I wanted to stay close to where close to the house, mainly because I wanted to get here on time. So I just kept running. I just put on the clock and I was like, just go, just go.
3 miles, 5 miles? How long did you go today?
I don't know. I went for at least 30 minutes.
Nice.
So and like I have my own thing with training on the treadmill versus training on, you know, on my own with stuff like that. You know, like I like being outdoors mainly because I need to know my own heart rate, and I can only push myself to where I feel like I can go. Versus I go on the treadmill, a lot can be done, but I almost feel like it's almost predetermined. if I set it on a certain time or a certain speed, it's very easy to just be like on autopilot. Versus in fighting, you want to be there for the moment. So whenever I go outside, like every step that I do, it's something that I'm actually actively thinking about. So it's more of a mental drill, if that makes any sense.
All I'm thinking about is when's the last step. I can barely make it like a mile and a half, and I have to start walking. It's too far. All right, how are you on time? I could possibly have 3 more questions, but if you need to go, you can go.
No.
You're good?
I'm having tons of
fun
All right.
Here. This young lady wants to ask you a question.
Cool.
Kendra from Humboldt, a NorCaler like yourself. What's up, Kendra?
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and Anna. Nice to have you in studio.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want to ask you, I have a question for you as a fellow Filipina. Filipinos have a very unique nose shape. It's more broad than long. And I wonder if you have found that to be beneficial in the striking round.
Oh, I love this question. You know, it's funny. So a little side note, I went over to the Philippines and actually made a point of that in terms of, you know, being proud of who you are, be proud of your skin color, be proud of your nose, because it's not necessarily the...
I don't like my nose.
But in terms of fighting, yes, I think it's been a great benefit. Like, I don't have to work... Like, I haven't had to deal with a broken nose, you know, knock on wood, or anything like that, and I feel like it's been great, you know, especially for a sport like boxing where the target is one of the primary targets, and or the face is one of the primary targets. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? I'm sure since you've been asking me this, you've been experiencing something like this.
Well, I certainly wondered, just because in combat sports, broken noses, deviated septums are so prevalent. I mean, take Misha Tate. She has a pretty predominant nose, and it's been broken, and we've probably critiqued it thinking, oh, maybe has it been fixed? It looks a little different today. But it just popped into my head with this broad, short nose that I'm so thankful I've passed on to my children, and they didn't get their dad's nose. I started thinking this could be very beneficial from a breathing and a combat perspective.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Like, I mean, I've been, you know, blessed to not have any big issues with my nose or anything like that. And it also goes to like nose bleeding and stuff, you know. And so it's. I think it's just been a great attribute in terms of just a fight game in general. So.
Hey, Anna, whose nose? If you were a guy, would you rather have Jason B's nose or Goz's nose?
I like Goz.
No, you said Goz first.
All right. Nice. I love putting people on the spot. Finish up, Kendra. What else you got?
I just want to say I'm looking forward to seeing you next week at our junkie events, and mahal kita.
Oh, thank you.
All right. See you later, Kendra.
Mahal kita too. Thank you.
You like that, huh?
This is cool. I love this show. It's so international. I love how you have people with different backgrounds and people with different accents calling in. It's so awesome. It's refreshing.
Ever since we brought up nose, Angela's had that iPad very high. Angela, show us your nose. You kind of been hiding back there. We know the battery went out on the iPad like 2 hours ago. So stop playing. All right, he doesn't want to show it to it. I'm not too happy with my nose. All right, I said I had 2 more left. So that was one, yes, Kendra. The other one was, tell us about, you got to meet the president of the Philippines? Is it the current one, the one that's, you know,
no,
regulating out there, or before that?
No.
Would it be the Marcos family, I guess, or?
Nino Aquino is who I got to meet, and you know.
How did that happen?
I'm telling you, man. Boxing is obviously, you know, one of the national sports of the Philippines, and they really back their kababayans, or their fellow country people, and it was very surreal. Like, I got to go into what we call the Malacañang Palace, which is like their White House, and you know, everything's gated, and you have all these soldiers in there that's protecting it with these big machine guns, you know, and dogs and everything, and it's beautiful, but it's really intense at the same time. And you know, everything was very formal. I had to wear my traditional dress, and you know, it was so legit. You go in there and you could just see the history of just the country in there. They have like these statues of historic, you know, icons. One of them is Andres Bonifacio. My middle name is Bonifacio, and for me, you know, it's just nice to see the heritage and, you know, the culture being proud. And when I got to meet the president, it was in his office, and so it was me. Angela was there, and there's a couple of other people that were there, and he walks in, and he is such the coolest guy. It was nice to know that you have someone who's so important and has a huge role in the world. Just go out there and and have that common touch, and it just put me at ease, and there's so much history behind him, because when we went into like his other private office, he was giving us a tour. He had a picture of his fallen father. So if you know a little bit of the history of the
I don't. You'll have to tell me.
So when his father was president, there was a lot of things going on, but when I believe he left the country of the Philippines, came back in a plane, and he didn't land in an airport where he can go through the terminal. He had to walk outside the plane, and he was shot down. He was killed
assassinated? Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So that was his father, and he straight up has that photo.
Was he a little kid when that happened? Was he alive when that happened?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So when I saw that, I was like, I didn't know what to think of, and he was open enough to actually explain. He goes, and this is the motivation, the inspiration of why he wants to do justice in the country. And I'm like, wow.
It's
so
intense,
you can see that,
man.
yeah, it was really intense. So again, the vibe from the people was very open. People are very hospitable there, but in terms of like when you want to clash in the mix of the history and how just trying to get everyone to unite in that country, it can get you're like you're on both. You're feeling both aspects of that at the same time. It's like bouncing on a tightrope. It's like I want to make sure that everything is just all set. So it's a once in a lifetime experience. I'll tell you that.
Man, we're happy for you that you got to experience
that. Is really cool.
That's awesome. Thank you to Angela for pointing that out. During the commercial, it was like, what? Like, she literally, the question to Anna about half an hour ago was, has you ever had you ever had a cool experience? She goes, no, not really. And then Angela was like, what? So, fist bump to Angela for bringing those up, and thank you for sharing them. All right, the last thing.
Okay.
I believe this is fair, what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So let's see how you take it.
Yeah.
I didn't like your game plan in your last fight at One Championship.
Okay.
You have hands like a mofo, right?
Yes, sir.
We've seen them at, you did a display for us at the Junkie Gathering where you showed us, footwork, head movement. You showed us combos. And the Russian gal, I forget her name. I should have it up, sorry. She was a kickboxer, and I thought, oh, Anna's going to light her up. You've accomplished stuff at such a high level. You elected to wrestle more. Now, obviously, you're probably following a game plan, and maybe you thought, well, I can exploit something. But I noticed it was similar to who did it the other day? We kept saying the same game. Oh, Masvidal. Masvidal has great hands.
Yeah.
And didn't really throw them. He was throwing kicks to the head. He was fighting off. Half the time he was fighting off Damian Maia, but when they were standing up, he would lock up a Darce, and then. Now Maia would have something to hang on to. He tried to guillotine, but he never let go of those hands. And in your case, same thing. Like, take us through that fight. Why I guess you didn't throw these hammers that you have.
It's MMA is such an interesting sport because you really have to explore yourself as a fighter. You have to know how much of you have to take whatever you've learned up to that point in terms of like your fighting instinct and your technique, and just being open to learning new things just so you can find out your overall game. So in that point of my career, I was just really focusing a lot on the grappling and trying to understand it. So like I said earlier, I really immersed myself into it.
Right.
I wasn't doing the boxing grind that I was
we could tell you had techniques for sure. We know you work hard at it and everything. But I just felt like, man, she could be lighting her up too.
No, it's.
We're waking up at 5 a.m. cheering you on, so we were like, light her up, light that bitch up, saying all kinds of things. So I thought you were gonna like Muhammad Ali it, and shake and do the Sugar Ray and pop out.
Oh, believe me, it's a collective effort because I remember talking with Angelo about it too in terms of like there's a lot of brilliant things that I was able to. Just kind of see for myself and just kind of learn, but I also know too in the back of my head, like I was telling you even with the martial arts and then taekwondo and the boxing, like there's things that I see that I do want to explore and I want to, perform and actually do it. And I went back and forth with him in terms of like, let's spend a little bit more time on the boxing, because boxing is more than just throwing punches. There's a lot of it's stacked with layers of technique that happens within a fraction of a second, and you need to be in control of that from the beginning bell to the final bell, up until if the match doesn't go that far, or if you end up finishing the match. And so it was interesting, because going to a new aspect, and then just trying to find the proper balance of what I needed to be. You know what I mean? And I feel like I was trying to find myself in that portion. So now that I got to step away from both sports, boxing and MMA, just a little bit, I got to just really evaluate and just kind of step outside of myself and just kind of see, what's out there, and what's best for me without being too emotional. So I think that's where I was at that point. I just really wanted to immerse myself in the grappling aspect and kind of understand and how it fits in MMA, and how it fits with my body type and and the way that I calculate things. And and I thought, even though the outcome didn't turn out the way that I would have liked, and how a lot of people who were expecting me to come out with it, I think it came out for the better, where, like I said earlier, things are just a lot clearer.
Are my comments fair, or do you want me to just take my opinion and shove it in my big old mouth? Like, what do you think?
I think you're right.
Shove it.
Shove it. Shove it.
No?
No.
Because see, here's how I look at it. If the Russian gal, I'm the Russian gal and you're the coach, suggest that I should stand with Anna Julaton. Like if I go, what is my game plan, coach?
You stand with Anna.
Hell no, she's a professional boxer. Are you crazy? She's got hands.
Then you sleep in the cold.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that when she's in there, she's thinking the last thing I want to do is throw hands with Anna Julaton.
Well, in the third round, that's when I started. I started doing the boxing, and then she just started running. I wouldn't say running, but she just kept moving backwards and stuff like that. She didn't want to engage, and it was confusing for me in that point too, because I was listening to the commentators and they were saying that she was connecting with some punches. I'm like, do you understand what a slip and a weave is? Just because they're being offense, I don't know if you should actually reward them if they're not connecting with you. And so I felt like that was another aspect I wanted to learn more about, in terms of, if it does go to a decision, what are these judges looking at? And I notice, I can go into a whole nother ball game with that, but just dissecting it and all that aspect, and having some time to look back and forth on it as I progress on and have a different viewpoint as time went on. I thought it just all led for the better. But yeah.
I'll leave it with this.
You're not the only one who came up to me like that.
I'll leave it with this. We see a lot of female athletes train, and their hands are getting better and better, but we can just see the difference between a world-class boxer and an MMA fighter who's developing their boxing skills. And I mean, it's just enormous. There's a lot of layers in between. And when we were at Bishop Gorman, it was about 10 minutes of shadow boxing and you talking, and I was looking around the room because a lot of people are boxing fans that are MMA fans, and people were just in awe of your skills, because you really just, the sweet science is a beautiful thing, and you have awesome technique, and hopefully if you do stay with MMA, we can see more of that, because I just think it'd be a weakness you could exploit in practically every woman out there.
It's I think just like in any one of the arts, I mean, if you competed in it, and if you compete at a high level, you're going to bring something different to the table when you get into the cage. So yeah, I'm actually inspired to try to explore that and try to perform that with what may ever. What's fun for me is that it's been something that I've been practicing for a while now. So it's not like, oh yeah, I did Taekwondo like 20 years ago and here I am going to practice it now. It's like, no, I went back to basics, and so I'm getting fired up.
Cool.
We should probably do like a class here or something like that.
You can punch Jason.
Okay. Sure.
All right, thank you for doing the show. Thanks for staying overtime.
Thank you.
All right, Goes, we're good?
We're good.
We're out of here?
We're out of here.
All right, Jason B., you're the man. Good job, as always.
Thank you, sir.
Goes, awesome on the fly. We had some new guests. He had to throw all them graphics up there quickly. Danny calling overseas, making adjustments as well. He was great. I, however, took it to another level. I was fantastic. We gotta be honest here. All right, folks. So Thank you to all our guests. I said that earlier. And for all of us here and Danny, we're out of here. Go enjoy your Thursdays. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, be champions.
When I was just a baby,